Hi everyone, let's do some testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, let's. So I'm Abhishek, the WebOps Club head. So I'll be starting with the a presentation. So welcome to a short session on nearly everything about WebOps Club. So this is about what the WebOps Club is for, what we do, what we do in WebOps, and how can you start learning WebOps. And so there will be a light demo by my side, and after that I'll tell you what you can do with these WebOps skills which you will learn in the coming semester, this semester and the coming semester, and some new exciting areas I plan to explore in this academic year. So this is the outline of today's presentation. So I'll tell you about what is front-end, back-end MobOps, what is server client model, how can you learn on your own, and some homework so that you can get on the same line in the next session. And how can you join the club? Okay. So basically, the web is based on this server client model. So in which there are a lot of computers in different forms which interact with each other over internet or some other local area network, where server is the computer which runs almost 24/7, and the backend work happens here in the server. Okay, and this side is the client. The client is handled by the users. 1 minute, I got a call. Yeah. No, tell me. Mhm. Okay. Okay. 110 please. 111. Yeah. Okay. Oh, you want to define a new unit matrix based on this. It will turn out to be same as the one with the transform thing. Okay. Yeah, I'll try this. I'll try this. get ideas. Sorry for the interruption. So I was explaining about clients. Clients is maybe in the form of a laptop or a mobile or a tablet or the desktop. So front end and MobOps happens on this side, the client side. So how can you start doing front end? So front end is deals with mainly how the web page, the of the web application or maybe a simple website will look like on your not your on the client's web browser. And to manipulate how your web page looks like, you need to be using three main languages, which is HTML, CSS, and JS. So HTML, as you might be knowing, is hypertext markup language. So it is the skeleton of the web page which you will be making. CSS stands for cascading style sheet, and it is like the skin on the skeleton made by the HTML. So it will make your web page look nicer and beautiful. JS is JavaScript. So JavaScript is the brain on the skeleton and skin which you have made till now, and it will provide the intelligence to the web page. And also note that all the processing which happens using JavaScript happens on the client's computer and doesn't happen on the server side. Okay, so making front end, making web pages will be centered around using all these three languages and all those tools which will help you write all these three code in a simpler fashion. So some of the examples are Bootstrap, which we will be using tonight. So it is a kind of a library consisting of CSS and JS code. So then there is jQuery, which is a library in JavaScript. And then there is AngularJS from Google, which is also a library from JavaScript. So basically, JavaScript is a very powerful language, and you can find thousands of libraries made only using JavaScript. Foundation is another library made of CSS and JS, just like Bootstrap. Then there is Sass. It's a preprocessor for CSS, and it adds some more functionality which is not there inbuilt in CSS. And similarly for JS, there is a CoffeeScript. It's a preprocessor for JavaScript. This is Jekyll. Jekyll is, it kind of tries to replace HTML for making blogs. And then there is the most important debugging tool, the Google Chrome, which will help you find all the errors and the bugs and fine tune your front end page. Next is MobOps. So three famous mobile platforms we have is the Android, the iOS, and the Windows. If you see from the difficulty level, it's the most easiest to learn is the Android OS. Then comes Windows, and then there is iOS. I'll say iOS is most difficult because you need to have Apple devices, and the code developed used for making iOS apps needs a lot of time to learn. And then there are other mobile OS coming up like Ubuntu and Firefox, which is trying to replace Android mainly, and by using some very basic HTML and CSS code. In our WebOps club, we have we have student developers who are good in Android development and Windows development. We would love to have someone who knows iOS, but he has to give time on developing some skills in the language used for iOS. So as I told you in the client server model, the backend works in the server. Front-end and MobOps works in the clients. So for doing the backend, for developing the backend, you need to be good in one of these three languages. So there are four main languages used particularly. So first of all, the oldest one is the PHP. Using PHP, there are other frameworks available like WordPress and Drupal. And then came Python, and a framework made out of Python is called Django. So this was the second after PHP. Then came Ruby and Rails. So Ruby was an entirely new language developed for a particular kind of web server. And then there was a framework made out of Ruby, which was called Rails. And nowadays, a lot of startups, a lot of new companies are using Ruby Rails for their backend. The latest one is the Node.js. So Node.js is made out of the famous powerful language JavaScript, and this has a great advantage of speed compared to Ruby, Rails, Django, and PHP. And also, when a front-end developer is already thorough with JavaScript, it doesn't take much time to develop the backend with the same language. So it kinds of dissolves the bridge and the gap between, it bridges the gap and the front end by using the same JavaScript language. So all these things, front end, MobOps, and the backend, can be learned online on your own. And most of the members of this club have learned it on their own. So these are the famous websites where you can get help. Schools is like a dictionary for all the front-end work. Code Academy has live exercises and demos for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, AngularJS, Ruby Rails, and some few more, I think Python also, and PHP. Udacity has online video course on Android development. School has a lot of interactive, downloadable tutorials on Node.js and related frameworks. Code has a video course on AngularJS, which is officially recommended by the AngularJS group. Stack Overflow is in general is the Quora for all the programmers, be a web developer or a competitive programmer. So if you have any question, any doubt related to any language or any programming language, you can go to Stack Overflow, and most likely your question must be already having an answer. And if you don't have a question, don't have a solution to your question, then you can post one, and you can get an answer within a day or two. So now we'll show you a demo. So basically, we're making a website which looks like this. Simple single page website, which in two libraries called jQuery and Bootstrap. So in the post, you have to download the Bootstrap files from the Bootstrap website from this link. Download Bootstrap. You have to download the jQuery from jQuery.com. Which I forgot to mention in the Facebook post. So you go to jQuery.com, click on this download jQuery button, scroll under jQuery 2.x, first link, download the compressed and production jQuery. Click on it, and you will download a file. So I already have the downloads folder. I already have the jQuery. I will delete the duplicate one, and I have the zip file of the Bootstrap. It is around 265 KB, and this is 84 KB. I'll just so I've extracted the Bootstrap file into this folder, and just to verify, this folder will have another three folders called CSS, fonts, and JS. And so we'll go to desktop and make a new folder called first website. So I expect every one of you to follow me and download all these two packages, jQuery and Bootstrap, and go to desktop and make a empty folder and name it first website. Now, first website, I'll go to downloads. I'll copy these two, the Bootstrap folder, the extracted one, and the jQuery JS file. I'll cut and I'll paste it. Okay. Now I'll open the Sublime. This is the text for you can develop code in any programming language using this Sublime text, and it will provide you a lot of functionalities which you will never find in your Notepad or your Word, or even in Notepad++. So I'll create a new file. I'll save it in the first website folder, and you should name it as index.html. Okay. So I have this new file called index.html, and I'll rename this folder to BS3, Bootstrap 3, and rename this jQuery file to jQuery.js. Okay. So we'll start writing the code for the first single-page website. I recommend you to first write a name and the date. It will help you to track who and when was this code developed if you try to develop this. So what I just did is I just typed HTML and press the tab button, and it will create a basic skeleton using HTML tags. You can just press cancel. You can see HTML tag, opening and closing tag, which has head, opening and closing, and the body, opening and closing. And head also has a title thing. So I'll just, title also has an opening and closing tag. So I'll write, create a title for first website. I'll go to my Chrome. I'll close these. I'll open this index.html. Sorry. Go to desktop, first website, index.html. You can see whatever title you typed between the title tags will be visible here. And whatever you add between the body tags will be visible in the main white space here. So to get an idea of the front-end work, I'll show you something from the Google India page. So whatever you see is the front end, and actually you can look at the code of the front end. If you just right-click anywhere and anywhere in the body and click on inspect element. So you can see this is the HTML code developed by Google themselves for the Google India page. So if you click any of the HTML tags, you can see something is changing on this side. So this is the CSS code: style, display, none, body, font size, and those things. Okay, and you can even see the JavaScript files. If you go to source tab, and you can see this is the JavaScript file. This is sorry, this is HTML. You can go to there, and this is JavaScript. So these this code is a bit complicated because they are for Google, but for today's demonstration, we'll be using very simple command for very simple tags to make a website something like this. So we have three things: index.html, bootstrap package, and the jQuery file. I have to build the HTML file to find a CSS file inside the bootstrap folder, which is here. So which is inside BS3, inside CSS, and then there's a file called bootstrap.css. So how do we do that? So we go to the, we insert a tag below the title tag. It's called link. So I'll type link link and press tab. It will create, Sublime will create for me the basic link tag. And in the href, I can type the address of the CSS file. So address will be bs3 css / bootstrap.css. Now HTML knows which CSS file to use for beautification and styling, whatever in the body tag. Okay. So I'll visit the get bootstrap official website. You go to components. You can see there are elements available on the bootstrap package. So it starts with icons. You can have something like panels. You can have a jumbotron. You can have patches, and you can have a lot of. You can create a lot of things using bootstrap package. If you go to the CSS page, I recommend you to read through overview and system first, and then use any other elements. So you can create a lot of nice looking tables, forms, buttons, button with colors, and even images, which is responsive. And there are a lot of things you can read and use. There are other elements made out of using JavaScript. Examples, say modal. So if you click on this button, you create a box kind of thing. And there is one thing called carousel, which I'll be using today, is the photo slider. Then there is collapse, which I click on a button, it will expand and contract back. And there is scroll spy. I'll just scroll down and it will change. So you can see something, the highlight is getting highlighted based on the content. So I'll be creating a page header for you. You can see the page header syntax for page header in the components page. Page header. So I'll be using something like this. Before that, I'll go to the page. I have to create a container, and you can learn about container in the overview page, where I'll use this tag to create a container. I'll use div. What I did, I just typed div.container and I created this tag, a div tag with the class name as container. Everything, the content of the website will be placed inside the container. I'll add the page header. Page header. Inside, I'll open a H1 tag. Type in my name and add a subtitle in small tags. Okay. So you can have a look on whatever we made here. So this is the first website. I'll just click refresh and you can see a page header. I'll add 2 more quotes using the block quote tag, which you can find in the components page. Sorry, this CSS page. Okay. So I'll be using this kind of syntax to add 2 quotes. So I'll be adding the quotes inside a row. So to create a row, I'll use a div tag with the class name row, and inside which I'll create 2 block quote. Block quote tags with this particular class name. The grid system tells you that the container is divided into 12 columns, and you can use these 12 columns to mention the width of the elements which you use inside the rows or the containers. I'm telling the block code to use 6 columns each. So I'll add a quote inside a paragraph tag. A quote from APJ Abdul Kalam. His name. So I am expecting you to follow me and do the same, add the same code which I am adding, just in the similar format. Quote from Elon Musk. I'm adding the code in the P tag, P stands for paragraph, and the author in the footer tag. I can see, so I can see 2 quotes. So I told the block code to use 6 out of 12 columns, so it occupies 50% of space and the horizontal direction. And the second code does the same. The second part. Now I'll add a carousel and 2 wells. So you can see carousel. You can find carousel in the JavaScript page. This is the carousel, and you can find the well in the components page, I think. Yeah. So first of all, I'll create a row. I'll create 2 columns of width 8 and 4. And inside column 8, column with size 8, I'll copy paste the code for carousel. Carousel has a lot of code, so I'll just copy paste. You can scroll down, click on this copy button. You copy this code to your clipboard and paste it. I'll compact this using Sublime and push it inside it. So this is important. Indentation is important so that your code is readable by others. And now I'll add two wells inside the second column. So you can see something. We have a carousel and two wells which are empty now. Since carousel is in the JavaScript page, I have to add JavaScript file also. So this is how you include or link a CSS file into the HTML file. And now I'll show how to add a JavaScript file into the HTML file. So just before the body closing tag, I'll add a tag called script. Inside script, there's an attribute called src, and I'll mention the address of the required JavaScript files. I also need to add the jQuery JavaScript file. So the address is relative. Relative means relative to the index.html page where am I writing this tag. This is index.html. It's in first website folder. So it will, this src will tell the index.html to search for a file called jQuery.js in the same folder. And this address will tell index.html to search for a folder called js3, then go inside the folder called js, then search for a file called bootstrap.js. Now, to make the carousel work, I have to add some pictures. So what I have few pictures in the folder, in the img folder. So I have 3 pictures. So to have a decent carousel, you need to have pictures of the same dimension or at least same aspect ratio. So these are all these pictures have the same size. The size is 800 by 451 pixels or 450 pixels. So approximately they have the same size. Now, how to tell the carousel that I have to use these pictures? The code, expand the carousel, the code for carousel, and find the img tags. So this is the img tag. Now, in the src attribute of the first img, I'll add basketball. Even the basketball on the alt, I'll add basketball. Here, B capital, basketball. Second img, I'll add traveling.jpg. Wait. So it will try to find this file in the same location, and it will throw an error because there is no JPG file in the same location. So instead, I have to tell it that search for an img folder first, then find the basketball.jpg. Similarly, here I have to add an img folder. To add the third image, I have to copy paste this div with the class name item, and I'll change this. I can see it. Slider is ready. So I have 3 pictures: basketball, traveling, and coding. Can even use my keyboard right left button to change the bit. But all these functionalities are being provided by the Bootstrap JavaScript file. Now I have some content in these two wells. I'll compact this code. Yeah. Now this inside the first well, I'll write something about myself. So this is my heading. Now I'll add a paragraph. Metallurgical and materials. I'm from fourth year. I like coding, traveling, and playing basketball. And you can see the first well is ready with the heading about myself and a paragraph telling something about myself. In the second well, I'll add some of my contacts. I'll copy paste this, save some effort. I'm expecting you to write something about yourself. And in the contact thing, instead of using a paragraph, I'll use a table. I use a table tag with the class name table. So Bootstrap will style this table. The table will add a row, PR tag. Inside row, I'll add two columns, TD tag. My phone number, number. Space for readability. Another row for Gmail. We'll add a hyperlink. Another row for Facebook. And the last one for GitHub. So I have my two wells ready. So I'll add the last thing, the footer. I'll contact these wells and the entire row. I'll add footer. You can see the footer here. Add a line between the main body and the footer by using the HR tag, horizontal rule. You can see a line. I'll center it by using a class name called center. So my single page website is ready, and you should be having. Should also try to make a single page like this with your name and a subtitle here, and with two favorite quotes. Write out something else inside your first well and add a contact details in the second well, and then create a carousel with your favorite pics. So I'll be uploading these code, and you can check it, read it later for reference. So going back to the presentation. So what do you get by joining this club? So if you develop a mobile application in Android or in Windows or say iOS, so you will need an account on say Google Play Store or Apple Store or Windows Store, and generally you have to pay for it so that you can they can filter out some not so serious developers. So the WebOps Club will provide you an account where you can publish your web apps and you need not pay for it. So what if you want to develop apps for devices like Android Wear? And if you want to seriously make an app for Moto 360, and so we'll be providing you a device for testing purpose. So we'll be organizing a few hackathons or hack nights where you can develop a few apps, and if they are very interesting enough, you will be winning prizes, and maybe you can have a startup idea during that hackathon. And there are a lot of hackathons happening in Chennai and around Chennai, where you can participate and earn some cash within say 24 hours. And there are a lot of competitions for which the club can guide you. One of the most prestigious one is the Google Summer of Code, where you work on a project over during summer vacation, and you get a stipend of I think $6,500 US dollars. So that is around 3.5 in rupees. And of course, if you have all these skills, you'll get a lot of job opportunities, and even before getting opportunities, you get a lot of internship opportunities. And if you want to start your own company and your product is related to say web or a mobile app, or at least you want to have a website of your own, you need to have these skills from the WebOps Club. While in IIT, you can join a lot of projects under this club. Some of the examples are mentioned here. Or you can join a team, a WebOps team in IIT, like the Institute WebOps team, Saran Shastra WebOps team, or the IIT WebOps team, and develop websites for their purposes, or something else like election portal in the Institute WebOps team, And so similarly, there are 10-20 WebOps teams inside INSEE, which you can join after learning some skills out of this club. So as I mentioned in the outline, there will be something new which I want to explore in this academic year. So first of all, there is cybersecurity. So there are a lot of theories saying that the next war age is cyber war age, for which we need a lot of ethical hackers which can defend the data which we have, the digital data, digital information we have in our country. And the next hot topic is the Internet of Things, which will try to connect every living, non-living thing to the internet and exchange information over the internet. Inside IIT Madras, we have a lot of computing resources. High performance computing section of computer center, where we have clusters named as Libra, Virgo, and GNR, which we can explore for free, and we can do something called parallel computing, using which you can simulate a lot of very large scientific models and get results within, say, 1 or 2 hours, instead of running it for months in your serial computer. Then the next area I want to explore is the game development using engines like Unreal Engine or the Unity engine. And maybe in the this semester or the next semester, we'll have games which be based on something happening in INSEE. So I'm giving a homework for the next session. So in the next session, I'll be expecting you to have an account in GitHub. You can go to github.com and sign up to have an account. So add a username, add your Gmail and the password. Instead of Gmail, you can add your S-mail and you'll get some student offers, and sign up for GitHub. So similarly, I already have an account where my username is Abhishandi. So you can see my photograph here, my name, my username, some followers, my commit history, my repositories, and a lot of things. So it's basically a collection of all your coding work. Second homework is installing a Linux. So the most recommended is the Ubuntu 14.04 long-term support. So you will be. क्या हो गया? Wait a minute. कोई नहीं हैंगआउट में आया. एक भी नहीं आया. I guess. अभी चल रहा है क्या? कितना बज रहा है? एक तो उसमें 80 people participate. काफी लोगों को लगा मिस कर दिया. कौन सा किसी को पता कितना मिनट की? क्या पूरी हालत है कमरे की? ढंग से रखो.